Welcome back, and today we're going to be recreating Jose Mourinho's record-breaking 4-2-3-1 that he used at Madrid in the 2011 and 12 season. Let's get stuck into it. Welcome back to the channel. If you are enjoying the content and the tactics, make sure you are subscribed, like the video, leave a comment, share it. All of that will help the channel out massively. But today we will be looking at recreating Jose Mourinho's 4-2-3-1 that he used at Real Madrid during their record-breaking season in 2011 and 12. I always struggle to say 2011 in a sentence. Crazy. So in this video, firstly, we're going to check out the results. Did we do better than Jose Mourinho? Let's find out. Did we manage to break his records? And well, any more records, we shall see. Also in this video, we are obviously going to break down the tactic. We're going to recreate the tactic, and then lastly we will play a game. It's El Classico against Barcelona, so things should be spicy. It should be. But now let's check out the results. So in the competitions, all the competitions that we were involved in La Liga, we managed to win. We were the champions. We played 38, we won 34, we drew 2, we lost 2, 104 points. So that means we broke a record. Jose Mourinho got 100 points. We managed to get 104 points. Jose Mourinho actually scored 121 goals, I believe. Let me check, fact check. Yes, they did. They scored 121 goals, so we'll find out if we did any better than that. I mean, 121 is a lot of goals. In the Champions League, we got knocked out in the semi-final by Liverpool. You know what? In my last 3 videos, we played 2 Champions League finals. Both of them were against Liverpool. Today, we played the Champions League semi-final again against Liverpool. They always seem to get to the final. In the Spanish Cup, we got knocked out in the 5th round by Espanyol, and in the Spanish Super Cup, we managed to win that, beating Atletico Madrid in the final. So let's look at some other stats. Did we score as many goals as Jose Mourinho? No, we didn't, but we didn't have Ronaldo, to be fair. We managed to score 109 goals, which is still a lot of goals. It's over 100 goals. We had the most shots for the fewest shots against. We come in 5th. For the best pass completion, not in the top 8. Average possession, we come in 6th with 54% of the ball. For the most tackles won, not in the top 8. Most dribbles made, we made the most dribbles with 570. Most clean sheets, it is Real Madrid. And for the fewest conceded, joint top with Villarreal. So now let's look at the player stats. Most goals, Karim Benzema was the top goal scorer with 28 goals. But we also have Eden Hazard with 19 and Vinicius Jr. with 17. Luka Modric with the most assists with 15. Toni Kroos in the list alongside Vinicius Jr., who had an excellent season. Vinicius Jr. and Toni Kroos both on 11 assists. Vinicius Jr. with the most shots in the whole league. Karim Benzema also in the list. For the most man of the match awards, Vinicius Jr. and Karim Benzema both on 6. For the most key passes, it is Luka Modric. For the best pass completion, nobody in the top 8. Most tackles won, nobody in the top 8. For the most dribbles made, we do have Ferland Mendy, and we also have Vinicius Jr. For the most clean sheets, Courtois with 19, and for the fewest conceded, well, Courtois is in the list with 29, but he's not number 1 or number 2 or number 3. And before we go any further ahead, this video is sponsored by the new fantasy football app, Spitch. For match day 31, so this is the last match day. For match day 31, you can play for the free chance of winning a holiday, a jersey, beats, headphones. I mean, they've got to be better than these headphones. And a gift card for your PSN or Xbox. UK users are to provide their ID once they submit their first team on Spitch. You have to be 18 years of age and you have to be living in the UK or Ireland. Now this app is a fantasy football app where you create and build your own team. You collect points, you can play in weekly competitions, you can play amongst your friends, or you can play against an absolute beast monster like myself. And your captain is vital as he'll be earning double points. So join, make sure, enter and win your fair share of £70,000 injection. There's weekly competitions. It's not just based off one season. The app as well. The best thing about it, you don't have to leave to get any of the stats. If you need any stats, of course, stats that are important to your Spitch team, it's all going to be inside the app, and all the help you need is also inside the app as well. So make sure you download the app, and once you download the app, make sure you register and enter some competitions. The link is in the description below, so you don't have to go anywhere. Just click the link in the description. Let's get stuck back into FM. So we have swiftly moved over to the data hub. You can see the pass map from the most recent game, which was against Mallorca. I mean, there's not much you can really tell from this pass map. It would have been better looking at the tactic first, then going back to the pass map. But looking at the attacking efficiency, we were very aggressive and clinical with our attacking efficiency. Defensively, we were quiet and impenetrable. For the goal output, we had some high quality shooting with also some strong defending. Looking at the scoring, high quality shooting. For the defending, we made fewer blocks and fewer clearances, but then again, we were the better side for most part of the season. We didn't necessarily do a lot of defending. Now looking at the tackling, we made fewer tackles, but we were also strong with our tackles. For the passing, we made fewer passes and inaccurate, but we are a heavy counter-attack side, so possession numbers, we don't necessarily care. That doesn't necessarily matter to us. And looking at the XG table, we had an XG of 103, but we actually scored 109. We had an expected points tally of 83, but we actually got 104. We expected to top the league, and we topped the league. So that there is the data. We can now look at the squad stats. Who are the top goal scorers? Karim Benzema with 36 goals, Vinicius Jr. with 23, Eden Hazard with 21. So technically that is the front three. And then Marco Asensio, who was the attacking midfielder. So actually our attacking 4 players were the top 4 goal scorers, which is kind of no surprise, but it's also very nice to see, especially the 2 wingers and the striker hitting over 20 goals. Now looking at the assists, Vinicius Jr. had an excellent season, 18 assists, Luka Modric with 18 as well, Marco Asensio with 13, Toni Kroos with 13 assists. Lastly, we can also look at the schedules. Let's look at some of the results that we got. We started off fantastically with a 4-1 victory, then a 2-0 win, then a 3-0 win, then a 1-0. We had a few clean sheets in the opening games. We also beat Chelsea 4-0. We beat Barcelona, which is a game that we actually have to play. So apologies if you saw that result. We may actually get a different result when we play that fixture again. But we beat Atletico 2-0 away from home. We also drew against Valencia away from home. I'm just going to pick out some of the bigger games. Against Chelsea at the Bridge, we beat them 3-2 at Stamford Bridge. We also beat Barcelona in the Super Cup semi-final before beating Atletico Madrid in the final. But we went to Nou Camp and we got smashed. We got toasted by Barcelona away from home, and at home against Atletico Madrid, we got a 1-1 draw. In the Champions League, how did we do away to Liverpool? We got a 3-2 defeat, Eden Hazard scoring 2. I mean, Mo Salah getting a late winner against us. If he didn't score that, I mean, things could have been really interesting. Maybe we would have been playing that Champions League final. In the second leg, we beat Liverpool 1-0. It just wasn't enough, as Liverpool went on and beat us on penalties. On the last game of the season, we managed to beat Mallorca 6-2. But that there wraps up the results. Now let's head over to that tactics screen and break down how I created this 4-2-3-1. So let's head over to that tactics screen. So welcome to my Jose Mourinho Tactic screen, and of course we've already started out with the 4-2-3-1 because we know that is the formation that was used. So we are looking at the 4-2-3-1, and we actually might start off with the team instructions before moving over to the player instructions, just so we can sort out the style of play before we figure out the player roles. So for the team mentality, what I went for and what I believed is actually 2 different things. So I believe in real life, when you are counter-attacking, you are a little bit more cautious, you are. But on the game, I feel when you are creating counter-attacking tactics, it is best to go for the attacking mentality rather than cautious. Now, with the attacking mentality, what's going to happen is you're going to get players further forward. You're going to break with speed, with pace, and some directness as well, which is kind of what you want from counter-attacking. With cautious on Football Manager, what usually happens, or what tends to happen, your players are a little bit more cautious in possession as well. So they aren't necessarily trying to take more risk when your team are breaking on the counter attack, and it's kind of harder to expose the opponents when you are trying to expose the team on the break. So the reason why I'm going with the attacking mentality is just so that we can break with numbers, with pace, and with some directness as well. So the mentality on attacking. And then of course, we could just use the team instructions to really make this a counter-attacking tactic rather than just a very heavy attacking based tactic. So now for the team instructions, we can just keep this at the bare minimum. We don't need to just load in lots of team instructions. We don't need that. I don't necessarily believe Jose Mourinho really made his tactics overcomplicated. So for the tempo, we are going to break with speed. We really want to break with speed. We really want to capture that from the Jose Mourinho tactic. So the tempo, we're going to go for extremely high. For the approach play, we're just going to leave everything blank. All of this stuff is going to be blank, but for the dribbling, we will run at the defense just so we can carry the ball and also engage in more 1v1 duels as well. So for the dribbling, we're going to run at the defense, and for the tempo, extremely high, and that is it for possession. Now in transition, like I said a little earlier, is really going to be the team instructions that's going to determine this tactic. Is it a counter-attacking tactic, or are we just attacking, just putting pressure and pressure and pressure on? So when possession has been lost, we can counter press, and that kind of makes you more aggressive, putting pressure on for the whole 90 minutes, which is what we don't want to do. Again, we want to be more counter-attacking, so we kind of do want to invite some pressure, and we're not going to use regroup because we don't want to invite a lot of pressure. If we're playing against Cadiz, Mallorca, those teams, Jose Mourinho isn't just going to sit and just invite pressure from those sort of teams. We are still Real Madrid. We still need to be a little bit proactive against those teams. So when possession has been lost, we're just going to leave it. We're just going to leave it. When Barcelona have the ball, when they're tiki-taka about, we're not going to counter press. We actually could just be sitting in our 4-2-3-1 shape. Not necessarily regrouping, but we could be just sitting in our shape. And then of course, when we're playing the Cadiz, the Mallorcas, we should in theory be possession of the ball most of the time, but as Real Madrid, we will be a little bit more aggressive of the ball. So now when possession has been won, we're going to counter. Of course, this is a counter-attacking tactic, so we will be making counter-attacking movements once the possession has been won. And for the build-up, when Jose Mourinho's side were building up from the back, they usually just got the goalkeeper, if not kicking it long, they will just look for one of the two centre-backs. Preferably it will be Sergio Ramos, as he's the better player on the ball. He was more of the ball-playing defender, as Pepe was just a centre-back, just a really aggressive centre-back. But Sergio Ramos, he was kind of the ball-playing defender in the side, so he would kind of look so we could distribute the ball to the area. I believe the right-hand side would be the ball-playing defender, Sergio Ramos. So you could just distribute the ball to Sergio Ramos if you really want to, or you can distribute the ball to the centre-backs. Again, bare minimum, not a lot of instructions. We aren't overcomplicating things. We are just making counter-attacking movements and distributing the ball to the centre-backs for our in-transition instructions. Now for out of possession. Again, for this Jose Mourinho counter-attacking based tactic, we don't need to fill this page with a whole load of instructions. We don't need to overcomplicate things. For the line of engagement, we're just going to shift this up to 1 because they did kind of, I wouldn't say high press because they were counter-attacking, but again, they did sometimes like to engage, especially when the opponent had a bad touch or when they felt they can overload a player in a defensive situation. So we're just going to have the line of engagement on higher. Again, this is going to give us a nice balance when we are playing against the likes of Barcelona. We're not necessarily just going to be pressing high. This high line of engagement you might not necessarily see against a better team because they will be on the ball a lot, and that will force us to drop. For the defensive width, we will be forcing the opposition on the outside. This is what Jose Mourinho liked to do. He liked to force the opposition away from goal and make his mid-third, his defensive third in the middle, just compact and narrow, very difficult to break down. So the defensive width is set to force the opposition on the outside, and we will be using tighter marking as well. We're going to try and adopt kind of a man marking system. We're just not going to allow the opponents any time on the ball once they pass the line of engagement. And for the trigger press, we're just going to leave it slightly more often because we are using that attacking mentality. So naturally, they will be pressing a little bit more aggressive than normally. And we don't necessarily want to intensify that press because we are a counter-attacking side. So for the trigger press, and this actually, it's giving me heart attack. It is giving me a heart attack because if you know me by now, I do like my aggressive tactics. I do like to press. That is just the football that I prefer. So now I am kind of out of my territory with this slightly more often trigger press. It's just bang in the middle. It's literally just bang in the middle, and we're going to leave it there. This is the Jose 4-2-3-1 team instructions, the attacking mentality. For the in possession, we're running at defense, extremely high tempo, try and break at pace. That is what we're looking for. So when we are in transition, we of course going to be using counter-attacking movements, distribute the ball to the centre backs, try and get Sergio Ramos on the ball when we are building out from the back. And for out of possession, we are engaging with a higher line of engagement, nothing too high, nothing over the top, nothing too crazy, standard defensive line. We're forcing the opposition on the outside, use of tighter marking. That there wraps up the team instructions. Now let's move over to the player roles and their instructions. I tried to wink there and I just like threw my head forward. Now it's time for that intriguing part, the player roles. Let's talk about the player roles and how we are going to be setting them. Iker Casillas in goal. I mean, we're just going to leave it as the standard, the book standard goalkeeper. We don't have to do anything special there. Now for the right back, Arbeloa. He was a lot more defensive than the fullback on the other side, which was Marcelo, who liked to get further forward, but we will talk about that a little bit later. For the Arbeloa role, we're going to be using the fullback on the fend just so he sits with the back four and he's not going to do anything special in possession but play those simple and short passes. But because we are on that attacking mentality, we do need to tone down some things in the player instructions. And in fact, we're just going to tone down every single thing in possession. So things like crossing frequency, we want him to cross less often. For the passing directness, shorter passing. When the team has the ball, he can sit more narrow, he can dribble less as well. What we're really doing is just reducing the amount of risk that the right back will be taking, because like I just touched on, the attacking mentality, naturally the players will be acting a little bit more aggressive than normally. So for the fullback on the fend, to try and get that Arbeloa role to a T, we are crossing less often, dribbling less, shorter passing, sitting more narrow as well. You can shoot less often, but he's not necessarily going to be in the area to be taking those shots. For the Marcelo role, he's going to be a lot more attacking, so we're going to be using a complete wing back on that supportive duty, and we're going to be asking him to dribble more, bring the ball forward, and we're also going to be asking him to take more risks. Now we can't necessarily get this in this game, but what Marcelo was excellent at is playing those long balls from the left hand side to the right hand side of the pitch. He can just hit those Hollywood passes. He was fantastic. He was absolutely fantastic. That there is very difficult in this game. Plus we've got a very old Marcelo and we were using Ferland Mendy, who I doubt has the ability to be playing those sort of passes. But for the Marcelo role, we are going to be using that complete wing back on support. Now in defense, forgive me if I got this wrong because I can't remember who was playing on the left and who was playing on the right. Was it Sergio Ramos on the right or Sergio Ramos on the left? Because now when I'm thinking about it, I believe Sergio Ramos was on the left hand side. But for my tactic, I got Sergio Ramos on the right, a ball playing defender and on that stopper duty. So he's going to be our ball playing defender, the defender that we look for in possession when we're trying to build from the back at that opportunity. And he's going to also be aggressive. He's going to step out from the defensive line to put pressure on a striker, be that little bit more aggressive out of possession. And his defensive partner is just going to be that central defender on the defensive duty, which is going to be, of course, Pep. Hey. Now moving slightly ahead, I believe Real Madrid had this perfect balance between a number 6 and a number 8, that deep line playmaker, someone to drop deep, and that box-to-box midfielder, someone energetic linking up between both boxes, which is something that we're going to be using as well. So for the Xavi Alonso role, we are going to be using a deep line playmaker, but on support, though I feel that Xavi Alonso, he kind of sat in front of the defense, kind of, but we didn't necessarily want to use another defensive role on this game. I believe 4 would have been too many. 4 would have been too many, so we're just going to be using a deep line playmaker who isn't, of course, going to be aggressive going forward anyway. He's always going to be holding his position in midfield and just supporting the rest of the team. So for the Xavi Alonso role, we're going to be using a deep line playmaker. Now, actually, you could say, or you could argue, these two were kind of two deep midfielders, 2 actual double pivots rather than 2 central midfielders. But then again, it's also about interpretations and how you want it to happen on the match engine. For me, I preferred when the 2 players were in central midfield rather than defensive midfielders, because the game would get them to act as defensive minded players. So we're going to have them in central midfield and we're going to be using a deep line playmaker on support. And for the Sami Khedira role, we are of course going to be using that box to box midfielder. Now for the instructions, the deep line playmaker Xavi Alonso. We're going to ask him to dribble less just so he can dictate the tempo. We don't want him to be bringing the ball forward. When he gets the ball, we want to ask Xavi Alonso to take that pass first mentality, look up and look for a pass. He could use his expansive passing range, or he could just look to dictate the tempo, play it short and knock it on to another forward thinking player. So for the Xavi Alonso deep line playmaker, dribble less, and for the Sami Khedira, a box to box midfielder, but we're going to ask him to get further forward when we are in possession. Again, this is something that you don't necessarily have to use. You don't even need it. You can literally just have a box-to-box midfielder and just leave the instructions just like this, all plain and simple. Because what you can do against the bigger teams, because Jose Mourinho, of course, he likes to tweak things all the time. When you are playing against the bigger sides, you might not want the central midfielder to be as aggressive because, again, the attacking mentality. So you could tone down his instructions, dribble less, shoot less often, take fewer risk. You might not necessarily need to cross less often, shorter passing as well. When you are playing against the bigger size, these are some of the instructions, the tweaks that you can make. Now let's move forward to the attack line where things are about to get a little bit more interesting once again. So for Mesut Ozil, the attacking midfielder, that typical number 10, we will be using a trequartista. Someone that's just going to roam about, especially out of possession as well. He's actually just going to roam about and look for space. Once we win the ball, we can look for Ozil on that counter attack, get the ball to Ozil, let him create, especially with Ronaldo running off on the left hand side, Di Maria on the right hand side, Benzema just in front of him as well. Our counter attacks could be deadly. So for the Mesut Ozil role, we are going to be using a trequartista. Now for the Di Maria role, and I know a lot of you will or might disagree with this, but we're going to be using a winger on attack. And I know Di Maria is left-footed playing on the right-hand side. In theory, it should be inverted, but we are going to be sticking with the winger on attack. The reason being for this is that Di Maria often stretched play, and this also happened when he was on the ball. So it wasn't necessarily just off the ball. He will stretch play. Once he receives the ball, he cuts in. He did do that because it's Di Maria, and that is part of his playing traits. But what also he did is got the ball and he just ran wide. He still ran wide, and he also played a lot of crosses. So he used to get the ball. Sometimes he would cut inside, sometimes he would just run down towards the byline. He would of course turn back onto his left foot, where he would then send in a cross. He wouldn't necessarily go towards the byline and cross with his right foot. He would always look to cut back or turn around and cross the ball in with his left foot. But the idea of this is always having someone stretch the play, and we also need someone to stretch the play whilst they are in possession. So once the winger receives the ball, he will run wide with the ball and he will look to stretch that play. But then again, it also depends on the player's traits. If you are using a Gareth Bale, for example, on the right wing, Gareth Bale is still going to be Gareth Bale. He's not consistently going to get the ball and just drive towards that right flank like a typical winger, because he still has player traits, he still has tendency, he still has things that he likes to do. So he still may cut in from time to time. So now we got that winger role sorted. We're also going to shoot more often as well, because Di Maria, he did love a shot. He did love a shot. Now for that Cristiano Ronaldo role, of course, the inside forward on attack. I mean, there's not much to say about Ronaldo's role that you possibly do not know already. He was the main goal scorer in this team. He used to cut in from the left-hand side. He also has some nice link-up play with Mesut Ozil, but also Karim Benzema as well, which is what we want to try and get. So we are going to ask him to sit more narrow, and Ronaldo being Ronaldo, we are also going to ask him to shoot more often. So that there is the inside forward role. Oh, this team is looking fantastic. Lastly, for that Karim Benzema role, I mean, I had troubles with this. I had absolute trouble. I didn't know what role to choose. We could have went with a deep line forward. We could have went with a complete forward. We could have went with a, I don't know, probably a pressing forward as well. But what did I go with? Of course, I went with something different. I went with that false 9. We also asked them to shoot more often, like we have asked Di Maria and Cristiano, and we are also going to be asking him to move into channels as well. The main reason why I wanted to go with the false 9 is, again, it's mainly just to get the best out of this role here, the Ronaldo role. But the false 9, I mean, he's still a goal scorer, as you will see, or you saw with the results. Karim Benzema scored 36 goals in 41 games. He's still a goal scorer. He's still going to get inside the box and score goals. The false 9, though, he does have that movement where he drops deep, he links up play. So again, when we are breaking breaking forward. He will come deep to link up play. Rather than creating depth and getting even further forward, actually he's going to come deep, link up with play before driving forward in towards that box. And that there, unfortunately, wraps up this Jose Mourinho groundbreaking, or record breaking I should say, 4-2-3-1, where he managed to score 121 goals and get 100 points on the board. We managed to get 104 points but score 109 goals. So not big difference between the two. Defensively, how much did he concede in real life? I need to check that. How much did we concede? We conceded 30, I believe. He must have done better than that. Let's check how much he conceded. He conceded 32, so we actually did better than him defensively. So we conceded 30 and scored 109. They scored more, but also conceded more as well. Just look at the average rating. Benzema, Hazard, Vinicius. That's what I'm talking about. But that there wraps up the tactic. Unfortunately, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I absolutely enjoyed speaking about this, but that's not the end of the video. No. We have to play the El Clasico against Barcelona. So let's strap up our boots and let's get ready for that game. Wait, we're the manager. We don't need to strap up our boots. Let's get ready for that game. So this is the team that we're going to go with. As you can see, the headphones on, so it's serious business time. It is serious business time. This is the team that we're going to go with. So let's get stuck in and let's win this game. So the game has kicked off, the El Clasico at the Santiago Bernabeu. Toni Kroos, Eden Hazard, running wide with the ball. Benzema, almost 1-0 already. Almost 1-0 already. Here's Gerard Piqué, Ricky Puig, Sergio Busquets. He kicks it long, but we win the ball. Alaba in the air, and Asensio, Vinicius. Look at it, Vinicius running in towards the box, that Ronaldo style. There's that Mesut Ozil player. Oh, it's falling to Eden Hazard. And we have to give them. Come on. Come on, boys. We have to give them their injection. It's 1-0 at the Santiago Bernabeu. Oh, Piqué's mistake. It is both Ter Stegen and Piqué's mistake. But we aren't complaining. Eden Hazard, aka Di Maria, puts the ball in the back of the net, and Ter Stegen is making saves again. But as you can see, which is giving Barcelona the ball here, 61% of the possession they have. We have 39. And as you can see with the heat map as well, we're not necessarily pressing aggressively. We've got a lot of players behind that halfway line. Here's Sergino Dest, Ricky Puig now. Ferran Torres driving in towards the box, and Courtois picks up the ball. What's he going to do with it here? Jordi Alba. My God. Oh, what a ball. Hazard. Oh, he's hit the pass. Oh, guys, let's replay that pass. I'm sorry. We have to replay that pass from Editor Militao, because that there was just absolutely insane. Alaba, not Jordi Alba. David Alaba. Look at that pass. Oh, man. Beauty. Hazard, but he hits the post and they clear the ball to get it away. We are slowly approaching halftime. Barcelona with the throw in here. Frankie de Jong. Let's cut this out. Oh, my God. What is going on? What type of football was that? But here's Hazard now. Here comes the classic Real Madrid counter-attack. Hazard is just running. Oh! Vinicius Ronaldo! And it's 2, the classical counter-attack. That is what we wanted to see. Oh, I'm so happy we got to see. So happy we got to see it, because that would have just been an absolute shambles of a video. Doing a counter-attacking tactic, playing a game, and not even seeing one counter-attack. But that has made me happy. Pump our fist. Come on, boys. What a goal. And I love the fact he squared it across the goal as well, rather than shooting. Here's David Alaba. He's pretty decent on free kicks. Oh, kicks it wide. Toni Kroos. Benzema, Editor Militao. And it's 3 goals to 0. This game surely is over. This game is surely over. What a finish. Oh, it's another corner. Ter Stegen picks it up. Ter Stegen picks up the ball. What's he going to do with this now? Is he going to... No, he rolls it out. Ansu Fati. Jordi Alba. The real Jordi Alba. Greatly cut out by... There we go. Look at the counter-attack. Look at the counter-attack, boys. Here comes Hazard. Whip that. Oh, unlucky. Put pressure on them. Corner them, boys. Corner them. Force that long kick. That is what we're talking. Come on, Madrid. Vinicius Benzil. It's 4. It's 4. Come on. Come on, boys. I mean, Gerard Piqué is not even looking the right way, but what a finish again from Benzema. What a performance this has been from Real Madrid. We have created, look at the chances, the XG. We have created some fantastic chances today. Frankie de Jong. I mean, look, this has come break through our defensive shape. Let me just sit this. Let me just watch back and sip my tea. Jose Mourinho on the sidelines drinking tea. What do you know? Knowing Jose though, he would Casemiro. Oh! Oh! The football is just... Oh! The last time we played this game, we won 3-0. Today, we're winning 4-0 already. But now we do want that clean sheet. I know Jose Mourinho would be absolutely livid if he lost his clean sheet at this stage. So we're gonna try and get it. Here's Sergio Balde. Let's hopefully I haven't ruined the momentum here. Hopefully I haven't ruined the momentum. Does a little... So, Alaba collects the ball. Toni Kroos, Vinicius. Here comes a classic counter again. And Sensio, Hazard. Oh my days. The football. Honestly, this game is so beautiful when you're actually seeing the style play out. When you set instructions and you see it play out on the pitch, it just makes it all worth it. And here we can see that maybe the double pivot could be a little bit deeper, but at the same time, they're still both chilling or hanging just before that halfway line. So nothing overly aggressive from midfield. Toni Kroos is 5. I mean, if the game wasn't over before, it certainly is now. It is 5 goals to 0. Come on. Come on. Look at this. Even though we conceded a lot of the ball to Barcelona, we were still the dominant side, and that there wraps up the game. Look, Jordi Alba, I must have cursed him because he actually played a 5.8. But that there wraps up the game. I mean, some of those goals were absolutely fantastic. I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy now. I'm probably going to be smiling for the rest of the day. Wow. But unfortunately, that wraps up this video. If you guys have enjoyed that, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like the video, share a comment, leave a comment, share the video, all of that good stuff to help the channel grow. Shout out to my Patreons as well. I appreciate every single one of you, and also my YouTube viewers as well. I appreciate you guys. Stay tuned for more videos. God bless. I'll see you soon.